Hello, this is Eric J. Miller from
Yeah,
God's Point of View Ministry, and today we're talking with a ministry friend of ours from Pakistan, and we will refer to him as Brother A. Um, and we won't talk about any of the places where he's actually in Pakistan or working in Pakistan for his own safety. And we have other people on in the future, as we might. We'll refer to them as Brother B and Brother C, etc. So for right now, Brother A, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the ministry that you run there in Pakistan?
yeah. I am the national director of in Pakistan, and we are working in the remote areas and villages where the gospel is unheard. These are our target areas, and by the grace of God, we are able to establish 8 churches, and 4 of them have their own buildings. Praise the God for this. And you know that I have completed my Bible education in 2005, and God called me to establish and to teach the missions and establish the local churches over here. And uh, after graduation, I spent 13 years as a Bible teacher in a Bible college. Then God called me to establish the churches in those areas where those are areas that are the hard areas, you can say that, and where the gospel is not mostly preached. So we started properly our ministry in 2001, and by the grace of God, for last 4 years, we have been successfully running, and God is working. God is blessing us day by day. Praise the Lord.
Hmm. So I can give a little bit of information about the country of Pakistan, just for people who might not know too much, is that Pakistan, the size of the country itself, is about the size of the state of Montana, which is a fairly large state, but it's not the largest state. Pakistan, also by comparison, is about half the size of Texas, which is a very large
Yeah.
state. So it's not a humongous country in terms of square miles, but the population is fairly large. There are about 240 million people that live there.
Yes, exactly.
And so it seems a very crowded place. Now there are a lot of very large cities in Pakistan, like Karachi or Lahore or wherever. But there are also lots of these rural areas. Um, so I think I've read that there are about 3.5 to maybe 5 million Christians in the country, which is only about 1 to 1.5% of the total population. So it's a very small minority in Pakistan. Christians are. Um, so do you think that most of those Christians are in the large cities, or are they in mostly in the rural areas, or what do you think?
Yeah. As far as your question is concerned, yeah, in Pakistan, the Christians are only 1.37% of the total population, according to the 2023 census. And mostly Christian over here, they are living in Punjabi, most of the Punjabi Christian, they are living in the rural areas, most of them. And these Christian, they were converted during the colonial area when the Pakistan India was the same country in before 1947. In 1947 they separated, the Indo-Pak separation. And so most Christian reside in Punjab province. We can generally practice our faith, attend church, and participate in religious activities. And you can find more Christian in the rural areas over here.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. So how do most Christians there in Pakistan, how do they make a living? And is it different in the city and in the rural areas? Like what sort of jobs would Christians have in those two places?
Well, uh, because most of the Christians they are living in the rural areas, in the villages, so they belong to the agriculture.
Mm,
Uh, if some of them they have their own land to grow the the crops over there, and most of them they are working on the daily wages, so they have very less opportunities to get the good education, to get the good facilities in the rural areas. But the Christians they are living in the cities, they have the good opportunities, because over here, when the missionaries came, they established many Christian schools and churches in the big cities.
mhm,
So in cities, most of there are very few they have their own businesses. Most of them Christian, they are underpaid. They are working on the daily wages in cities as well.
mhm. It's daily wages, so they don't
Yeah,
have a.
economic opportunities for Christian in Pakistan are often limited due to the societal discrimination as well. A significant portion of the Christian community, over 80%, work in the lawyer jobs, often considered undesirable. Many are employed in the professions such as the sanitation, sweeper or a labor, bricklaying, factories, or the domestic services, often with low wages. While some Christians have made contribution in the various fields, mostly belong to the cities like the education, medicine, law, and even serve in the military on the high ranking as well. So there are notable unemployment rate among Christian in some areas like Lahore even.
Mhm. So, do you think that Christianity today is expanding in Pakistan or staying about the same or maybe shrinking?
As far as the Christian who profess to be a Christian, there are so many, you know, and I believe that Christianity is being spread in the, no, not in a big city, but I believe in the rural areas, because mostly Christians they are very simple, they are very receptive, they are very pure in their believing system. So you can teach them the fundamental truths of the Bible. And you know that we belong to one of those countries where Christian persecution is very common.
Mhm.
So, the history tells that the Christianity spread mostly in the persecution.
Indeed. Indeed. So that's actually very encouraging that people are so open to hearing the gospel there. That sounds really great. So on the other side, because yeah, I think that's great. On the other side of that, though, are there any like what are like the major problems that you see in the church in Pakistan generally? Like,
Generally, people, uh, generally people are materialistic, brother. They are like the emotional beings. They don't even know the implementation of the belief. They just believe, they profess that they are Christian, but in their actions they don't. They don't practice the Bible truths and all that. Most of them are materialistic. Like in your country, the people over here they are also very, that they are very, most of them over here charismatic group is very they are very active over here. So mostly people believes on the emotionalism and the charisma. So the
mm,
condition is very poor, especially the churches in the big cities.
mm,
The pastor is like a charismatic personality. So the people mostly believe what is pastor saying. They don't much believe on the Bible. They mostly believe on
mhm.
they are much impressed by the preacher.
Yeah, it's shockingly the same here.
Yeah.
It's incredibly the same here, and I also know people in Africa. It's the same there. It's similar in lots of places. The materialism and yeah, just saying that you're a Christian but not actually living your life as a Christian. It's two very different things. And yeah, most over. I can't think of any place in the world right now. I'm sure there must be one, but I can't think of any place in the world really where that is largely true. So it is a
Mhm.
failing of the church the world over, and possibly since the time of the apostles. So it
Yeah.
is a serious thing that, yeah, we can work towards, but we know that very few people find the path. It's it's difficult, first of all, to find the gospel and to accept the gospel. But once you've accepted the gospel, you still have the narrow path to walk down, and very few people are interested. So,
Yeah.
mhm. So, how many Christians there do you think own their own Bible?
In big cities, they have their own Bible, and in the rural areas, mostly people are not much educated. So what we do over here, we give them some audio Bibles, MP3 devices, so they are able to hear the Bible. The over on that devices, we can record the sermons of the Christian hymns, but mostly in the big cities, they have their own Bibles. There are other many organizations they give the free Bibles, and we also do that. Especially there are few areas that are not actually big cities, neither they are big cities nor they are village, so they are somehow the towns, and we can give Bibles over there if they need it.
Yeah, in the suburbs, it would be called,
Yeah,
in
in
between the
suburbs.
cities and the rural areas. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, we, yeah, is literacy an issue among the Christians in the rural areas?
Yeah, it's it is the big issue, you can say that. And mostly the young children, they leave their rural areas and they move to cities to get the good education, to get the higher education. There are school in the rural areas, but they are not up to the mark.
Hmm.
They are not on the high standard as compared to the big cities.
So schools, people in the West are used to public schools, which are free, are
Yeah.
paid for usually through property taxes, which everybody pays.
Yeah.
Um, but in Pakistan, my understanding is that that is not the case. People have to pay for their children to go to school. Is that correct?
Well, public schools are also available for the free education, and but their standard is not good. So mostly people, they send their children to the private schools.
Mm-hmm.
They charge a big amount as far as the fee is concerned. So mostly there are some compulsory subjects which are to be taught in the schools over here. There are very few good at present in 2025 in the big cities. There are very few good Christian schools. Most of the Christian school, they were like the cathedral school system. They were a few years back, decades back, they were the good schools. They only take the students from Christians families, but now they can to get the education, or they are the money oriented school now, so they are open for the other religions as well. So they teach their religious books as well. So there are very few good schools that only teaching the Bible or only taking the admission of the Christian. There are very few in the big cities.
Mm-hmm.
But public school are available for the free education, but they are not actually Christian schools. They are the Muslim schools and they are free, but their standard is not good.
Mm-hmm. How about school uniforms? Chil
Yeah, the public,
Children are
yeah,
required to wear school uniforms, right?
yeah, they do. In play group or junior schools, mostly they have the colorful type of uniform. You can say that, but in a high school or a primary school, they do have their uniforms.
Hmm. So I've known a couple instances where our ministry has run across people who couldn't send their children to school just because they couldn't afford to buy a uniform for their children. Uh,
Yeah, it can be possible as far as the private schools are concerned, but the public schools, they have a very simple uniform. Mostly The shalwar kameez is our national dress for the boys and girls, so they do wear. Mostly the color is blue over here in Punjab's
Mhm.
public schools. So
Mhm.
do the wear. They do wear.
Mhm. So, had it. oh, There's an interesting phenomenon there in among the church in Pakistan that people aren't familiar with here, I think, about husbands who abandon their wives for Muslim women, and
Yeah,
it's referred the Christian women who have been abandoned with their children are referred to as widows. Even
yeah.
though, and in English, we would think of widows as only literally their husbands have died. But in this case, they're husbands that have abandoned them and they can no longer remarry. And can you tell us a little bit
Mm.
about that phenomenon and how that happens, why that happens?
Well, under the Christian Divorce Act 1869, abandonment or desertion can be a ground for Christian women to seek divorce in Pakistan. The legal provision is intended to provide recourse for women whose husband have left them. However, women seeking divorce on these grounds must file a petition in the family court and provide evidence. The courts are required to explore reconciliation efforts before proceeding with divorce. While the legal framework exists, the process can be challenging, especially for women who may face economic hardship or societal pressure or discrimination. The courts have also emphasized gender equality in divorce proceeding, which is a positive development for Christian women seeking divorce based on cruelty or desertion. But mostly over here, the men they leave their wives for the other women because over here it's a very it's not a it never considered a good practice that a one Christian man have a two wives at the same time. So
Oh, so the man. So what do you think?
leave their
What
Christian
is
wife.
the main
It's
motivation?
also a very common practice over here. The
Okay, so
reasons can be, yeah, there could be so many reasons behind them.
hmm,
There might be a financial gain. There might be a sense of physical attraction or somehow or to get a or even a conversion can also one of the causes if they convert to Islam or other religion they have a chance to get another woman, but as far as they are living in a Christian circle it would be hard for them to live with another woman.
yeah. Well, that's very sad. That's very sad for these women. Uh,
Yeah.
is it so? What sort of opportunities do the women have to be able to make a living or to raise their children then on their own?
If they belong to a good church organization or a mega church, the church can support them, or they have an opportunity to have some skill work like they can sew the clothes, they can be seamstress, or most of them the women if they are uneducated they do work in a factories or a maid in the different houses. But if a woman is educated or she is able to upbring their children, she can have their own small business at home. So in this way they start living. Yeah.
Mhm. So another kind of unusual uh, thing that we see in Pakistan that we've seen through our ministry uh, are these brick kilns. And
Yeah.
the people who live there often we've seen a couple places where the people living at these brick kilns are predominantly Christian. We've seen over 100 Christians in one particular brick kiln, I recall, recently. Um, so can you tell us a little bit about brick factories, basically? Can you tell us a little bit
Mm.
about them?
Yeah. Bricklanes are a significant site of bounded labor in Pakistan, a form of modern slavery, you can say, where individuals are forced to work to repay debts under exploitative conditions. And people end up in bricklanes due to extreme poverty often borrowing money for basic necessities like food, healthcare, or shelter. This initial loan or advance traps them in a cycle of debt that is almost impossible to repay due to low wages, long hours, and inflated accounting by Brickling's owners. The debt often occurs and it passes down through generation even, effectively enslaving entire families. Workers face inhuman conditions and their movement is severely restricted. This issue affects a significant number of people in Pakistan, with an estimated 1.7 million individuals in bonded labor across various sectors, including agriculture and other industries, with bricklings being a prominent examples. And mostly Christians are they are trapped in such kind of a loop or a circle of slavery.
Wow. Mm. Yeah, I've heard of some. Yeah, no, that's horror. That's very scary. Um, we met a minister who actually moved into a brick kiln just so he could be with his flock of believers, which was pretty incredible. But yeah, that's
You know, in all, I can quote an incident over here. If you say I can quote a brickling incident, uh, almost 10 years back, there was a Christian couple. His name was Shizad and wife name was Shama. They were working in a brick lane, so like kind of they were the slave. And when they were unable to pay their debt, or what did the owner did? He thrown them into the furnace of fire, and they burn out, only their bones were left and ashes. And you know what kind of accuses he made against them? He said that they were actually committed a blasphemy against their religion. So that is why that owner actually accused of them. He actually took a shelter in the shield of religion. So he burned them down. That was a very very sad incident. It was almost 10 years back.
wow. So we've gone on enough on these kind of general topics, and I'd love to talk more about the persecution in Pakistan, but maybe we can save that for our next talk, and we can talk
Yeah.
more in depth about it. But about you specifically, I was just curious how you and your family do there in Pakistan, and what sort of uh, any sort of discrimination or persecution you and your family have experienced.
Uh, as I'm living in a big city, and we we are living in the so get the good education or have some reputation among the Christians or belong to some good family. Yes, I do face such kind of discrimination, although we have opportunities to run our life, and but still we have to face a kind of as a Christian in Pakistan, we are minority group making about 1.37% of the total population. So uh, yes, however, we do experience societal discrimination and sometimes face official discrimination when we are in the offices. Arbitrary arrest, harassment, and violence, even. Uh, that is actually not a direct for me, but some indirect official discrimination. So they call us Christian. So over, that over statements or over words are not worthy for them. So there is a constant underlying fear, especially concerning blasphemy allegation, which can incite mob violence against over communities and churches.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Living in the large city, actually, I think would probably make it a little easier because there are so many people. Uh, it's maybe not very obvious. You don't dress differently. You don't look different than the rest of the population, uh, and so there's not many reasons for someone to pick you out uh, treat you poorly. I think in the rural areas, I think would be more.
Even if you have a Christian name, they can, if you in a start, if you can give your introduction that my name is Eric, and when they listen that word, they, they make a calculation in their mind, they get estimated, they are very concerned that, oh, he's a Christian, so we have to deal him in a certain way.
Oh, really? Oh, wow, wow.
Yeah.
So you say so you have there are more Christian names and or names that are less Muslim or more Muslim or more Christian. Uh, okay. Well, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm. So, do you think that things are improving for Christians in Pakistan, or are they getting worse? Or about
Historically the situation has, varied. Christianity has been present in the region for centuries, with missions expanding significantly during the British colonial rule. After the creation of Pakistan in 1947, the Christian community organization changed. There have been a period of greater or lesser tensions. However, the introduction of the enforcement of the blasphemy laws, particularly in 1980s, mark a significant shift that made things more precarious for Christian and other minorities. These laws have increasingly been used to persecute and discriminate against non-Muslims, leading to a general uh, feeling that the situation has become more challenging over the time. So I believe that the at present the situation is more challenging and difficult, because you never know what they can do with you. If you're a Christian or a non-Muslim, they can do anything with you. So situation is quite difficult or a critical or challenging nowadays as compared to the past.
yeah, yeah, just in the last 10, 12 years that I've been working with uh,
Yeah.
folks there in Pakistan, it happens quite a lot. There's just a dispute, a personal dispute, and then
Yes.
the Muslim or someone is jealous of someone else's position or their business or whatever, and the Muslim accuses the Christian of blasphemy in some way, usually of burning the Quran. I mean,
Yeah.
uh,
Even they use the social medias like the Facebook or WhatsApp. They take your post or your statement or a picture out of the context, and they make an excuse to persecute you even. So we are very careful. Even I am very careful about to upload the things on the Facebook or the other social media platforms.
yeah, yeah, and we're very careful to we don't give out any locations or any names. We blur
Yeah.
out all the faces, um, or other identifying marks or buildings in the background, whatever. Just we try and be very careful. I don't want to be responsible for anyone being hurt, but at the same time, we want to support the work that's going on there, and then let people know that this work is going on there, and that you can and people can help if they want.
Mm.
So I've heard a lot. I've heard a few stories recently of people of Christians, many Christians moving out of Pakistan. Um, is this true? And if so, where are most of the Christians moving from Pakistan to?
They are moving out. Most of them they are moving towards the Gulf countries, or if they have some connections or a relative or someone who can sponsor them in Europe or UK, they move up there, because even a good Christian who has their own business in Pakistan, he faced discrimination. So he thinks that he's wasting his time or talent or skills. So even the Christian who are very poor, they also try to hide their identity sometime, and they move to the other big cities where they can find the shelter, or they can feel the less discrimination. Yes, it's true that mostly Christian over here, especially the skilled worker, they are moving out to the
Mm.
other countries.
I mean, I can't blame them. Uh,
Mm,
it's if I had a family there, and I would want to get my family somewhere safer. But
yeah.
but yeah, it's difficult. I would it, I worry a little bit about if too many Christians from all these big cities move away, flee the country, then all the Christians in the rural areas will be in big trouble, I think. Um,
Yes.
hmm. So, Brother A, our time is about up here for this time, and maybe we
Mm,
can have another chat again later. That would be fantastic. So, do you have
yeah.
any
Yeah.
other information that you want to share or tell any of the folks here on YouTube about your ministry or how things are going there?
Yeah, things are going by the grace of God is good. You know, it's the second largest Muslim country of the world. And we believe that God has put us in this country to share the gospel. Yeah, we have a problems over here, but I believe the Christianity upbringing in the problems in the persecution. God bless. God is giving us blessing, and we are also thankful to you for the support and the prayers that you send us. Yeah, God bless you.
Well, thank you, Brother A. Well, we'll talk to you again soon, and I hope that you stay safe
Yeah,
and continue to do the great work that you're doing there.
yeah. God bless.
Thank you.